Hi, Year 9. My name's Mr. Clifford. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a biology teacher here, and I've come here to talk to you about IGCSE Biology, the study of life. So in the course, we go from the very small to the very big. So we talk about the molecules that make up life, and this extremely important one, DNA, which is basically the backbone of all life that exists here on Earth. We go from that all the way through to the macro scale of the biosphere, how life interacts with one another within it, and our place in it, especially as global citizens here on planet Earth. Okay. One of the things I love about this course is just the diversity of the topics that we cover. We've got 21 topics in total, and we go from all sorts. So at the very start of the course, we look at classification. How do we make sense of this almost 4 billion species here on Earth? And how do we group them and organize them so we can understand them better? From there, we go into other ones like biological molecules, like I've mentioned already, how things like carbohydrates and proteins, along with DNA, make up life around us, and the role that they play, whether you're a unicellular organism all the way through to multicellular organisms like you or I. Then we go. Another one that we look at is human nutrition. The real interesting path that our food takes going into our body, being broken down by enzymes into being such a small state that they can flow around in our own blood and be delivered to wherever it's needed. Staying along the human side at the moment, another one of my favourite topics is diseases and immunity. We're coming out of a COVID crisis at the moment. But how does our body fight these pathogens off? Because there's a plethora of different pathogens out there. Why aren't we all sick all of the time? And we have this incredible system inside every one of us, where we have different forms of defenses to help us keep nice and fit and healthy. The last couple I want to talk about is variation selection and biotech. So variation and selection, we can go back into the history of life, going back about 3.8 billion years, where we had the first signs of life, and then how everything's evolved thereafter, from the simplest life forms up to the most complex, again, you and I. And then the final unit that we study is about biotechnology. So this life has been around for 3.8 billion years, getting on with by itself. And then all of a sudden, in the last 20 or so years, we've been able to manipulate the very fundamentals of life. We've been able to change bases in DNA. And this has great promise for us. Already there's work being done to treat genetic diseases. But the possibilities are really quite endless. And we'll look at that, and we'll also look at the ethical side of that, and whether we should do this and how we should do it to keep it safe for everyone else. So for you guys, we're looking into the future there. Well, let's look into the future for you individually. If biology does interest you, there's massive amounts of different careers you could go into. From sort of education, obviously that's I quite like that, but down to the microscience, and then down all the way through to conservational science, zoology, marine biology. There's absolutely loads of things, and then obviously you've got the traditional things of medicine, etc. So how do we support the course? The theory that you learn throughout the 2 years is complemented by practical. So how do we support the course? Well, throughout the 2 years of theory, we support that by doing as many practicals as we can. We believe this aids the students to understand much better the concepts that they're trying to learn, as well as developing essential skills for science, but also outside of the science world as well. Selection of different practicals here of heart dissections, eye dissections, osmosis, but Ms. Beresford will talk to you about that more in just a short while. The final part I want to talk to you about is just how you're examined on this. It's the same as the other sciences. We've got two options. The first option is the core assessment, which is paper 1 and paper 3. And what that does is that allows you to go from G up to grade C, but it's not as much detail. The extended assessment allows you to get up to an A star, but the course content's in more detail. And that's what the majority of our students will be doing. So for both core and extended, it's the same. We have one paper which is multiple choice, and then we have another paper which is theory with short answers and structured questions, and that can be on anything of what you've studied. And then the final part is the alternative to practical assessment. And this is where you be asked whether, to design an experiment or to manipulate data or to display data using a graph. All these skills that you would have picked up in the last 2 years of doing the practical elements of each of the topics. Right, so that's it from me. I'm going to pass over to Mrs. Beresford now. I look forward to seeing many of you next year. Take care. Bye.
Hello, Year 9. As most of you all probably already know, my name is Mrs. Beresford, and I am here today to talk to you about IGCSE Biology. So thank you very much to Miss Service, who has already gone through the course and some of the content that you will be studying. I am here to tell you about why it is so amazing to study an IGCSE at biology. So why choose IGCSE Biology? Not only because it is amazing, but because of the idea that it is the study of life. It is a fascinating, ever-changing field of study, and it encapsulates the human body, evolution, the natural world, genetic modification, and so much more. For all we understand currently in biology, there is still so much more to discover, and it is not uncommon for long-held theories about evolution, genetics, or even human migration to be challenged and disproved. This makes biology one of the most fascinating industries to work in. If biology has always been a subject that has interested you, but you've not really been sure on where to start, then an IGCSE in biology is ideal. So by studying at IGCSE, you will gain a foundation of knowledge in some of the core biological principles. It will also give you an internationally recognised qualification. So if you want to learn more about biology, then you have that option to go on to further study. So an IGCSE in biology will give you the option of studying biology at A level and potentially at the degree level beyond that. Alongside it, this is a nationally recognised qualification and an internationally recognised qualification, and it can help improve your job prospects. And I know Miss Service has already gone through some of the jobs that biology can help you to get into. So studying biology offers you a diverse learning experience that can help you develop keen analytical skills in addition to self-motivation and independent learning. Now, I know Miss Service has already shown you some of the practicals that you can do at IGCSE, but I am here to show you a few more. So IGCSE, we build on your skills that you have learned at Key Stage 3. So here we can see my lovely Year 12 AS level biology group helping me to demonstrate some of the practicals that you will do at IGCSE. So this is one of my favourite practicals. We are looking at testing different foods to see what biological molecules they contain. And we can see that it changes different colours depending on the substance that is inside of it. So we have testing for glucose here, and here we have two of my lovely Year 12s testing different substances to see if they contain starch. So we can see that there is a lovely colour change when that substance contains starch. We also have a fantastic model of the torso, which contains all of the organs. So we can take a look, we can take that apart, and we can look at where those organs actually are within the human body. And we can look at their sizes. So right here, I am comparing the two different sizes of the lungs. And we take a look inside the heart as well, as we can see me showing them here. So we also go on to study DNA, and we have a fantastic model of the DNA in our lab, which should come up in a moment. Another shot of some color changes. We have here some microscopy work where we are staining our own cheek cells on slides to take a look at under the microscope. So here we have our lovely year 12s doing some microscope work, looking at the cheek cells that they probably grew only a few hours prior. And here we are looking at our large DNA model, because it can be quite daunting to look at something so small and think about it. So we use models to help bring those incredibly tiny things to life. So thank you very much for listening, Year 9, and I really hope to see you next year in IGCSE Biology.